Welcome, learner, to today's deep dive. I want you to just imagine something for a second.
Okay, I'm listening.
What if there were a tangible, verifiable bank account for your soul?
Oh, wow. Like an actual financial institution for karma.
Exactly. A place where every single good deed, every pure thought, and, every secret belief you held could be deposited. And in exchange, you get literal, quantifiable currency.
That is a wild concept.
Right. How would you even begin to calculate your own spiritual net worth?
I mean, it fundamentally changes how we interact with our own morality. Usually we think of human thoughts, feelings, and beliefs as this completely murky landscape.
Yeah, totally abstract.
It is the absolute definition of unquantifiable. You can't just put an X-ray over a good intention and measure its density.
No, you definitely can't. But the translated document we have in front of us today attempts to do exactly that.
It really does.
It is dated July 1st, 2022, titled Lifechanyuan Spiritual and Soul Bank Opens. And it's authored by a figure named Yufeng.
And the mission of this deep dive is to explore this incredibly unique framework. Because, well, this text doesn't just speak in metaphors or philosophical ideals.
Not at all. It is an open, literal invitation for you to deposit what the author calls excess spiritual and soul wealth.
And you deposit this into a specialized, highly structured bank.
In exchange, you get a specific currency that essentially tracks your progress towards salvation.
It's fascinating because the text takes the ethereal, the things we usually think of as floating somewhere up in the clouds, subject only to divine judgment, and it just grounds them in a rigid ledger.
It really sets the stage for a highly administrative approach to spirituality. But before we look at how to actually make a deposit, we have to understand the currency we're dealing with here.
Right. You need to know what you're earning.
So the official currency introduced in the text is called the F coin.
The F coin.
Yeah. And the document doesn't leave much room for interpretation regarding what this tender actually represents. F coins equate directly to blessings, welfare, and happiness.
So it's essentially the currency of human joy.
Pretty much. The text explicitly states that the more F coins you have, the richer your spirit and soul will be. And, by extension, the happier your life will be.
It creates a direct linear correlation. More coins equal a better existence.
Yeah.
I mean, this completely gamifies the human experience. But to participate in this economy, the text argues that you must understand a strict hierarchy of value.
Okay, break that down for us.
Well, this philosophy underpins the entire banking system. The rule is basically this. Soul wealth is more important than spiritual wealth, and spiritual wealth is more important than material wealth.
Soul beats spirit. Spirit beats material.
Exactly.
It honestly sounds like a frequent flyer loyalty program for the soul.
That is a great way to put it.
But instead of, earning miles for a free flight to Florida, you are accumulating points for existential happiness.
Which is arguably a much better reward.
I would take that over Florida, yeah. Though I do have to playfully push back on one phrase right out of the gate here.
Who is that?
The text asks if you have excess spiritual and soul wealth to deposit.
Right, the word excess.
Yeah. How on earth do you know when your spiritual wealth is in excess? Like, do you just wake up one Tuesday feeling like you have way too much inner peace and you need to stash some in a vault for a rainy day?
It is a funny concept, and
Uh-huh.
the text doesn't actually outline a specific threshold for what constitutes excess.
Okay, so it's a bit vague.
It is, but it does offer an immediate, clever psychological hook to get you started.
Oh, the sign-up bonus.
Exactly. Simply understanding that hierarchy we just mentioned, comprehending that soul wealth sits at the top and material wealth sits at the bottom, that alone earns you one F coin.
You literally get a sign-up bonus just for reading the terms and conditions.
It establishes immediate buy-in. By acknowledging the framework instantly rewards you.
So you are now invested in the system from day one.
You are. And from there, the text separates your deposits into two distinct categories. You have spiritual wealth and soul wealth.
Let's start with the spiritual side, because this section moves from abstract concepts into very tangible outward actions.
It gets very specific very quickly.
Yeah, the text provides an itemized list of how to earn these F coins, and it places a massive emphasis on relationships.
Notice how the text targets your existing social safety net. It says, if you know and resonate with a Chanyuan celestial.
Which is the term for a member or follower within this.
Right. If you know a celestial and you maintain a close relationship with them, you can save that for one F coin.
So making friends within the group gets you on the board.
But it goes deeper than friendship. If you have blood relatives who are Chanyuan celestials and you maintain close relationships with them, that is valued at 1 F coin per relative.
Wait, per relative?
Yes. 2 relatives inside the group, that's 2 F coins.
Wow. It financially incentivizes you to pull your blood relatives into this specific ecosystem.
It literally monetizes the family tree. Your biological network becomes an asset sheet.
That is fascinating. And then it moves from relationships to direct intervention.
Yes, the rescue aspect.
Right. The text states that if you have supported a Chanyuan celestial, either materially or spiritually, to help rescue them from an undesirable situation, that jumps up in value to 5 F coins.
That is a significant bump, and it reveals the structural priorities of the organization.
How so?
While a 5-coin reward places a high premium on community care and mutual aid, it ensures the members of the community are safe and insulated from outside hardship.
That makes total sense from a community building perspective. You want to reward people for helping each other out of tough spots.
Absolutely.
But as I read further down this list of how to earn spiritual wealth, I noticed a pretty jarring shift.
The PR stuff.
Yeah. The actions go from interpersonal care to what essentially looks like a public relations and marketing strategy.
The dissemination and reporting rewards. They represent a different kind of organizational survival.
Exactly. The text says that if you disseminate articles from the Chanyuan corpus or the Suifeng corpus, which are their central texts, you earn 1 F coin per article.
So you share 10 articles, you get 10 F coins.
Yeah, and if you report news about the progress of Lifechanyuan, or what they call the second home, that gets you 5 F coins.
It's a huge incentive.
It is. Even just affirming and praising Lifechanyuan in public, or publicly praising the tour guide, Shofeng, earns you 1 F coin each. It feels highly promotional.
It clearly incentivizes the outward growth and positive public reinforcement of the organization.
Right.
But we have to view this through the lens of how alternative spiritual communities sustain themselves. They require constant internal validation and external expansion.
So they tie marketing to salvation.
Essentially, yes. By tying PR efforts to spiritual points, the follower doesn't view sharing a pamphlet as a chore. They view it as a sacred duty that enriches their own spiritual bank account.
And here's the part that really made me stop and scratch my head.
Okay, let's hear it.
Amid all these relational acts and promotional acts, there is a hard fiat currency exchange rate written into the text.
Tipping system.
Yeah. The text explicitly states that if you pay tips for reading the corpus or reports about the second home, every 10 RMB, which is the Chinese yuan, can be valued and saved as 1 F coin.
10 RMB for 1 F coin.
You tip 20 RMB, you get 2 F coins.
Hmm?
I have to push back here.
Huh.
Doesn't introducing a direct monetary exchange rate completely compromise the foundational hierarchy we just talked about?
It seems like it, doesn't it?
I mean, we literally just earned a coin for agreeing that spiritual wealth is vastly superior to material wealth. Letting people buy spiritual points with cash seems like a blatant contradiction.
On the surface, the cognitive dissonance is loud. It really is. But if we analyze the architecture of this system purely from a functional standpoint, the text is engaging in a process of transmutation.
Transmutation, like alchemy.
Yes. It isn't saying material wealth is equal to spiritual wealth. It is offering a mechanism to convert the lower tier resource into the higher tier resource.
So you put in cold hard cash, and the machine spits out spiritual merit.
Historically, this isn't a new concept at all.
Like indulgences.
Exactly. Think of medieval indulgences or modern tithes in various religions. Any physical organization requires resources to keep the lights on and expand their physical footprint, like this second home.
Right. You can't build a community for free.
Right. So by integrating the 10 RMB tip into the spiritual ledger, the system validates material contribution as an act of piety. The follower isn't just funding the group, they are actively purchasing their own spiritual progression.
Okay, I can understand the mechanical necessity of funding, even if it feels like a convenient loophole.
It definitely bridges the gap between heaven and the accounting department.
Well put. But we need to keep moving, because after detailing spiritual wealth, which we've established is based on external actions, family ties, and money, the text shifts to the second category.
Soul wealth.
Yes, soul wealth. And here, the document takes a fascinating turn into auditing your actual thoughts.
Because while spiritual wealth is outward, soul wealth is entirely internal.
It is purely about what you think, what you believe, and what you yearn for. And I kept wondering as I read this section, how does a bank vault hold what you merely feel?
It's basically an emotional polygraph combined with a spiritual credit score.
A spiritual credit score. Wow.
The text starts broadly regarding these internal beliefs. For example, if you believe that it is best for humans to follow the way of the greatest creator, which the text equates to the way of nature, that foundational theological belief is valued at 2 F coins.
A general philosophical alignment gets you 2 coins, but then it gets incredibly specific.
Literally zooms in.
The text says that if you believe that the Suifeng-style communist production and living mode is best, that belief is valued at 5 F coins.
Now, we need to pause here and clarify something for you listening.
Yeah, please do.
When the text mentions this communist production, we want to remain completely objective. It is referring strictly to the specific model of communal living, shared resources, and collective labor that Suifeng prescribes for this local community.
Right. It's not about broader global political movements or economic systems outside of this group. We're just analyzing the terminology the author uses.
Exactly. We were just looking at the framework. But a 5-coin reward just for believing in that specific mode of communal living is a massive payout in this system.
It really is. And the internal auditing continues with resonance and yearning.
Yearning is literally currency here.
It is. If you read a report or view a video about their ideal community, the second home, and you simply resonate with the mode, that's 1 F coin.
Just for feeling a connection to a video?
Yeah. And if you long for or yearn to live in the second home one day, that's another 1 F coin.
The text goes on to quantify your alignment with their values, too. If you feel you resonate with the values of Lifechanyuan, every 10 values you resonate with earns you 1 F coin.
And if you resonate with 100 values, that's 10 F coins.
It's all highly quantified.
But I have to pause here, because this raises a massive logistical question for me.
How do they audit it?
Yes. How on earth is an internal yearning audited? Like, if I say I resonate with exactly 40 values, do I get 4 F coins? Who's checking that?
The administration, supposedly.
Am I just on the honor system when I claim I had a deep internal longing to live in the second home this morning?
Well, the text implies a profound reliance on self-reporting, but I'd argue the audit mechanism isn't really the point.
No.
Then what is?
The chilling effect of self-policing is the point.
Oh, wow. Explain that.
When you know you are rewarded for specific internal states, you begin to constantly monitor your own thoughts. You try to force yourself to feel a certain way just to get the points.
Because you want the spiritual wealth.
Exactly. And look at where the highest payouts are.
Let me check my notes here. Okay, so resonating with a video is 1 coin. Yearning for the second home is 1 coin. Believing in the general way of nature is 2 coins.
But believing in the Zhuofeng-style communal production mode is 5 coins.
And there is one more item in the soul wealth category worth 5 coins, isn't there? There is. The text states, if you believe that by following Zhuofeng, the tour guide of Lifechanyuan, you will surely become a celestial being, it can be valued and saved as 5 F coins.
Ah, so absolute belief in the leader gets you the maximum payout.
The incentive structure is incredibly revealing. The highest individual payouts in the soul wealth category, these 5 F coin rewards, they are inextricably tied to absolute loyalty.
Loyalty to the specific socioeconomic structure prescribed by the group.
And absolute loyalty to the leader himself, viewing him as the guaranteed guide to salvation.
General spiritual feelings get you a coin or 2. But unquestioning adherence to the organization's specific framework is where the real wealth lies.
It creates an internal economy where independent thought or doubt literally makes you poorer.
That is a brilliant way to phrase it. Doubt makes you spiritually bankrupt. And we also see rewards for afterlife aspirations, right?
Yes, the text maps out the afterlife quite specifically.
It promises destinations like the 1,000-year world, the 10,000-year world, and the Elysium Celestial Islands continent. Just longing to continue your life's journey in one of these specific locations earns you 1 F coin.
It comprehensively quantifies the internal life.
Everything is mapped out.
Your theological beliefs, your socioeconomic preferences, your alignment with community values, your trust in the leader, and your ultimate afterlife goals. Every single one is given a line item.
Which brings us to the most practical and honestly the most surreal part of this entire document.
The logistics.
The actual logistics of banking. Because you've tallied up your blood relatives, your public praises, your 10 R&B tips, and your inner yearnings for the Elysium Celestial Islands.
You have your grand total.
You have your F coin total. So what do you actually do with this wealth? What is the return on investment?
Well, the text is remarkably clear on the administrative process. To save your wealth, you are instructed to write down a wealth list of the 16 items we've discussed.
Okay, so you make a physical list.
You make a list. You must work out the total yourself and then submit it to administration without omission.
Submit it where? To a priest? To a physical temple?
To a website.
Seriously, you are uploading your soul's net worth to a website.
The text lists 7 specific websites where you can send your calculated list.
Let me read some of these names because they are amazing. We have the Lifechanyuan International Family website, the Chinese and English versions of the Life Cosmos site, something called New Oasis for Life Hengshan Station.
And the website of Heaven's University for Millennials?
Heaven's University for Millennials. You literally just email your spiritual balance sheet to an admin.
The text says they will keep a record. You can also send the details to any Chanyuan celestial, who basically acts as a sort of teller, forwarding it to the admin personnel.
A spiritual bank teller. The juxtaposition here is just incredible to me.
It is very modern.
I mean, we are talking about the path to spiritual ascension, the evolution of the human soul, escaping worldly suffering to reach the 10,000-year world.
The highest states possible.
And the mechanism for securing this is filling out an itemized 16-point spreadsheet and hitting send to an info@email address. The bureaucracy of heaven is literally a web form drop-down menu.
It sounds absurd when you place the vastness of eternity next to a web URL, I know. But if we step back and analyze why this highly administrative approach might be deeply appealing, it taps into very real human psychology.
Break that down for us, because to me it feels like it strips all the magic and mystery out of faith.
Well, think about how often you check your step counter on your phone.
Oh, constantly.
Or the satisfaction you get from clearing your email inbox to 0.
That is a great feeling.
We are neurologically hardwired to love quantifiable progress. Dopamine loops respond beautifully to checking boxes.
Okay, I see where you're going with this.
Now, apply that to religious anxiety.
Right.
For most people throughout history, the concept of salvation has felt incredibly abstract and, frankly, terrifying.
Am I a good person? Have I done enough? Will I be rewarded?
Exactly. Traditional spirituality requires blind faith, which often leaves those questions open-ended and causes profound anxiety.
Right. There's rarely a progress bar for enlightenment. You don't know if you're 90% there or 10% there.
But this bank offers a concrete cure for that anxiety. It offers measurable data. The text explicitly calls them solid steps along your path to heaven.
Wow. Solid steps.
When you submit that 16-point spreadsheet, you know exactly where you stand. You have a number. If you struggle with wondering whether you are, quote-unquote, good enough, a system that gives you a numerical grade is incredibly comforting.
It takes the guesswork out of eternity.
That level of certainty in a chaotic world is a powerful draw.
And the text makes massive promises about what that number actually buys you. The payoff is substantial.
The ROI, as you said.
The text promises that one day, Lifechanyuan will arrange for you to experience their idealized lifestyle, copied straight from the 1,000-year world to the human world.
Utopian living on Earth.
Yes. It states explicitly that this deposited wealth is your literal ticket to becoming a Chanyuan celestial and entering the second home.
It also offers practical support during this life, not just the next. It promises that when you encounter difficulties, hardships, and helplessness, Lifechanyuan will give you spiritual and soul energy.
It's essentially a spiritual insurance policy. You pay in your good deeds, your cash tips, and your loyal yearnings, and the organization promises to pay out energy when you're helpless.
And eventually, they hand you a ticket to paradise.
The document concludes with a blessing. It says, "May you open your telegnosis and be blessed to have wealth in the spiritual and soul bank of Lifechanyuan."
Telegnosis is a very specific term.
Yeah, for those unfamiliar, that implies opening a spiritual sense or achieving a spiritual awakening to understand the hidden value of this entire system.
It really is a complete self-contained ecosystem.
It provides the theology, creates the currency, defines the ways to earn it, acts as the bank to store it, and promises to be the exclusive vendor where you can spend it.
It's a remarkable attempt to build a perfectly logical, accountable framework for the most intangible aspects of the human experience. It is gamified salvation.
Gamified salvation. Well, this has been an absolute journey. We started with the idea of a currency for human happiness, the F-coin.
The F-coin, yeah.
We broke down how earthly actions, from claiming your celestial blood relatives to tipping 10 RMB, can supposedly boost your spiritual bank account while simultaneously funding the organization's PR and physical expansion.
And then we got into the internal audit.
Right. We navigated the incredibly internal and somewhat invasive process of earning soul wealth simply by yearning for the right things and maintaining absolute loyalty to the prescribed socioeconomic structure.
And finally, we ended up at the heavenly web form.
Submitting our 16-item spreadsheet for a promised ticket to the second home.
It reveals so much about how human beings attempt to structure the divine to make it palatable and predictable.
And it really connects back to all of you listening, because even if we aren't using F-coins or emailing spreadsheets to Heaven's University for millennials, we all crave validation.
We really do.
We all want to know that we are on the right path, that our good intentions matter, and that our struggles will eventually be rewarded. We might not write it down on a checklist, but that desire for a cosmic ledger, a system that proves our inner lives have undeniable value, is deeply, deeply human.
We all want assurance that our deposits in the universe are being recorded somewhere.
Which brings me to a final thought I want to leave you with today. Something to just, mull over on your own that really builds on everything we've unpacked from this text.
I'm intrigued.
Imagine for a moment that this system was universally real.
Okay.
If every single one of your inner thoughts, your secret beliefs, and your minor good deeds was being meticulously tallied on a ledger for a guaranteed, quantified future reward, would it change the purity of those actions?
Oh, that's a tough one.
Right. If you are only resonating with a value or helping a friend out of a tough spot because you know it earns you a coin, does the very act of quantifying spirituality inherently change what it means to be spiritual?
That is a question worth carrying with you.
It really is. Thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive. We love taking these journeys with you, exploring the fascinating frameworks people build to understand their place in the universe. Keep questioning, keep exploring, and we will catch you next time.